truth.
Hello, everybody. We're going to be addressing music. As we look into this, we're going to find out what Hollywood and music artists and all these things have in common that has actually dominated the music industry for so long, particularly two individuals and their tactics or methods of doing this. The first would be Max Martin, who actually writes all of the songs and the lyrics, note for note, word for word, and Roger Love, who is the vocal coach to all the celebrities and music artists. He has had the most top hits for 67 years of history. He's literally the top hit maker and songwriter of our time. And he has worked with many, many artists. So Britney and Taylor Swift. There's Taylor Swift, Britney, Backstreet Boys, Lizzo, Carly Rae Jepsen, Pink, Ariana Grande, Ellie Goulding, Justin Bieber and Nicki Minaj, Lana Del Rey feat. The Weeknd, Ariana Grande again. They've worked a lot together. And Taylor Swift. NSYNC again. Taylor Swift. Katy Perry. Celine Dion. Wow, okay. Normani, never heard of her, but okay. The Veronicas. Britney Spears. Katy Perry again. Cashapp. Okay. Demi Lovato. Britney Spears once more. Adam Lambert, Bon Jovi, Ellie Goulding, Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, Adele, Usher and Pitbull, Jessie J, Ariana Grande, and Nicki Minaj. Britney Spears again, Ariana, The Weeknd, Taylor Swift, Pink, Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, Selena Gomez. Okay, there's a new one. The Weeknd again, Taylor Swift, Britney Spears. We're getting to the end very quickly here. Robin, NSYNC, Ariana Grande, Katy Perry, Kelly Clarkson, Taylor Swift, once more, Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears. Okay. So one thing that he is not telling you is that when he began, he was actually, I think, just working in sound booths, and he might have had a band on the side. But I remember hearing a video where he began to tell his story, and he started with his first client, and it was Ace of Base, from what I understand, the Nazi group that wanted to get their music out there to be catchy enough for people that they would have fame and become popular. So he did it. And what he ended up doing was learning he had a great gift. Many top producers, including Martin, have been reported, just like he has, to actually channel their songs. He said it comes to him as though it's a human fax machine. So in other words, he does automatic writing or invocation to get the notes and the words at the same time. Now, artists like Beyonce, Jay-Z, and even Bob Dylan have admitted that they also do this and feel possessed while creating music. Max Martin is said to go into a sort of a meditative state where melodic formulas and lyrics appear to him. Whether conscious or subconscious, this is invocation, as we know it, a practice of calling upon spirits for inspiration. What he has been known for is a mathematical structure to his songs. It's very interesting because that's usually linked with the Pythagoreans, who were all about geometry and numbers. We're going to learn a little bit more about some of that, but his stuff is put together to be hypnotic. It follows a melody plus harmony plus lyric plus rhythm type of structure, which equals an emotional trigger in the listeners. Songs often follow the golden mean pattern, which I had never heard of, but it's 1.618, and the Fibonacci-based structure, a form of sacred geometry. So there you go, Pythagorean sacred geometry. He knows what vowels, this is his thing, of course, probably from the automatic writing and the demons. He knows what vowel to sing on what note to open the throat chakra of the listener, triggering emotion, desire, or euphoria. What we know is that this is actually a form of frequency-based enchantment. It's not just about making you sing along, it's actually about opening a portal in your emotions. So it triggers emotion, which allows them to plant messages into your brain and normalize that kind of behavior. And then they use repetition as ritual. You will find that Max Martin songs repeat their hooks, their choruses, and their phrases as a ritual chant. In ancient magic and witchcraft, repetition is used to cast spells. The same in pop music. Each hook becomes a mantra repeated by millions, almost like a global invocation, which is exactly the result they wanted. This brings us to Roger Love, the vocal coach to the celebrities and artists and even world-class business leaders at this point, who are using his methods to actually control people and make them want to do their bidding or have favor. So he has worked with Selena Gomez, John Mayer, and Gwen Stefani, among others. He teaches that voice is vibration. Roger teaches how to shape the frequency of your voice so that it bypasses the logical brain and hits the emotional core of listeners. This isn't just communication, this is sorcery with sound. He teaches how to speak or sing in frequencies that make people feel trust, love, lust, sadness, or even submission. He helps stars find their signature note, the frequency where their voice is most powerful, kind of like casting a spell. This is aligned with ancient voice-based enchantment, like sirens in Greek mythology, or priests chanting spells. Roger teaches breath control as foundational, but biblically and spiritually, the breath equals spirit, meaning ruach in Hebrew. Controlling the breath is an occult method of controlling spiritual projection. See, in witchcraft, they teach breath incantations. Breath plus intonation is a ritual invocation formula. And Roger helps clients bind emotion to breath and tone and then release it into others. This is how singers and speakers enchant entire stadiums. When we look at the occult and how this works, each vocal tone aligns with a chakra. It's the New Age term for ancient occult energy points. They aim for throat chakra activation, which is about expression and influence. A singer hitting certain pitches can literally activate the audience's emotional energy centers, which is a form of energetic manipulation. Now just listen to this. They write in the occult that the stage is an altar. The microphone is a wand. The lyrics are spells. The lights and the crowd are energy harvests. This is why performances often include circles, fires, and costumes with symbols, the all-seeing eye for one, lightning bolts, the Baphomet horns, and possession moments of alter egos for the performers. Roger Love and Max Martin have shaped the world as we know it with all of these things, being priests, if you want to call them that, of the new global religion. They practice mind control, enchantment, and spiritual deception. What we have to understand here is in Ephesians 6, verse 12, it actually says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places." However, we have to go ahead and address something else. Mariah Carey is actually someone we must talk about because she is the second best hit maker and songwriter of our day. She has been for a long time, and she kind of waits in the shadows. No one really knows. And the thing about her is that she's been a key player the whole time. We all just thought that she was a singer, but we didn't know that she actually wrote songs for other people as her biggest achievement. So as it lines up, apparently Paul McCartney was the best songwriter of history, all time. And then you have Max Martin, and then you have her. She is third in line to being, now that Paul McCartney, of course, is no longer with us, I think. I hope I'm not saying that incorrectly. I don't stay up to date on him. You have, anyway, Max Martin, he's number 1. And then Mariah Carey is number 2. So she has helped so many of these artists. Her rise and continued influence isn't just about her talent. It's deeply connected to spiritual manipulation, frequency mastery, and even occult symbolism. Okay, she uses a 5-octave range, which for someone who doesn't really know much about music, perhaps, you might be asking, what is that? It's the siren range. Her famous whistle note and register, the runs that transcend human norms almost. And it's not just the training. It's frequency manipulation, and it mimics the sirens of mythology. In Greek mythology, sirens use their voices to lure men to their deaths. Mariah's voice is literally called angelic, otherworldly, and even hypnotic by music critics. And it bypasses logic and stimulates emotions and sexual energy, especially in ballads and love songs. Her highest notes activate the crown and third eye chakras, aligning with occult teachings on spirit channeling through pitch. Are you hearing me? There is a science and an occult spirit channeling through pitch, vocal tones, and frequency. That's right. In occultism, the higher the frequency, the thinner the veil between realms, they say. Mariah's notes open those veils in her listeners. So Mariah is a co-writer on nearly every major hit that she's released. She has been a rare pop diva. That means she's not just a performer, she's a spellcaster. Her songs deeply tap into emotional triggers of heartbreak, longing, fantasy, obsession, betrayal. Her frequently repeat key mantras like "we belong together," "always be my baby," "hero," etc. She uses themes of love as salvation, replacing God with romance, which is a very Luciferian version of worship. The Bible says about this that they seduce the hearts of the simple in Romans 16, verse 18. So for Mariah Carey, she talks about this in a way that's very interesting. She says that she calls herself Butterfly and even named her 1997 album after it. While it seems innocent, the butterfly is one of the most powerful symbols in MK Ultra mind control and occult rebirth rituals. In monarch programming, a butterfly represents the split mind, post-trauma, one part beautiful, one part broken. In the New Age and Theosophical occultism, butterflies symbolize ascension and becoming a god. Mariah said, The butterfly is who I truly am. It represents freedom. Freedom from what? She's referring to being freed from handlers, post-trauma, and industry control, but yet she's still in the system, which suggests that she changed masters rather than escaped. She also refers to multiple personas, including Mimi, a more sexual, bold version of herself. In interviews and songs, she refers to being taken over by emotion, energy, or a different side of her. In occult symbolism, this is called walk-in or spiritual integration, where another entity uses your body or your voice. Her concerts are drenched in light codes, which is actually blinding stage lights arrayed in means to disorient and open the subconscious. It also uses repetitive chants by the crowd, worship-style adoration, and it's all Luciferian gospel, which pretty much means when she is singing, she's kind of having an attitude of, I will ascend. I will be like the Most High. So she is actually what they would call a high priestess of frequency-based seduction. She's not just a woman with a big voice. She's been used as a template for vocal seduction, just like Ariana Grande and Christina Aguilera, for emotional spell work through lyrics, and for divine feminine worship, the goddess archetype in pop music. She gives you just enough spirituality in some of her songs to seem uplifting, but just enough sensuality and false light to draw your spirit away from the truth. What we'll find is that in the occult world, frequency equals access. From ancient Egyptian temples to modern-day Luciferian mysticism, sound has always been seen not merely as vibration, but as a gateway. A spell is literally spoken vibration. A chant is sustained tone designed to shift consciousness of your listener. Music, tones, and harmonics were believed to influence the spirit realm, the chakras, and even call forth entities. What the occult masters such as Aleister Crowley had to say about this is that he taught that rituals must use sound and vibration to be effective. In Magic with a K, in Magic in Theory and Practice is one of his books, he describes a musical instrument such as a bell, gong, or chant may produce a vibration that tears the veil between worlds. He explicitly tied certain tones and intonations to astral projection and invocation of spirits. He believed vocal pitch could summon demons or open portals if used in a proper ritual frequency. Crowley's sex magic, which is the core of Thelema, the worship he created, often combined breath, mantra, and tone, a type of vocal energy sex sorcery. Now we're getting into all kinds of weird stuff, but that is one of the most evil men in the world. He has the title of being the most evil in the world, and he says that. So we must then go ahead and listen to what Helena Blavatsky, a New Age writer, channeler, and writer, I already said that, has gone and said about this. Blavatsky wrote, sound is the first aspect of the manifested logos, logic. Through sound, the worlds were created, she says. She claimed the word, or logos, was not Jesus, but a vibrational principle, twisting John 1 verse 1 into pantheistic sorcery. In her esoteric teachings, sound and pitch were tools of initiation, especially for opening the third eye and contacting ascended masters. She also wrote that certain tones vibrated in harmony with the etheric body, awakening spiritual powers within. And this is the root of what's now branded as sound baths or healing frequencies, if you've ever heard about that. It then brings us to Alice Bailey, mother of the New Age movement, as you see written there. She was Blavatsky's spiritual successor and UN-affiliated New Ager. She taught that music would be used to usher in the Luciferian New World Order. She says, music is the language of the soul and can be used as a technique of alignment with the hierarchy. Hierarchy meaning Lucifer and the ascended masters in Bailey's doctrine. She described the science of sound as a way to reshape human consciousness and destroy the old Christian worldviews. Certain tones were said to invoke the energy of planetary demons, whom she called rays, like sun rays. We can see that what she said was true. In pop music and all music today, we have found that it has shaped human consciousness and taken away the old Christian views. We then have to acknowledge that Manly P. Hall of the Freemasons also wrote about this. He exposes that the ancient mystery schools knew about this. Each tone, he said, in the musical scale corresponds to a frequency of spiritual energy. When properly intoned, or intonated, I guess, it opens spiritual gateways. He explained that the temples of Egypt, Greece, and Babylon used harmonic chanting and instruments to trigger trances and possession. He also warned that he who understands the vibration of sound holds the keys to the gates of life and death. This is why pop music is ritualistic. The artists don't even fully know they're being used to unlock and open those gates in their audience sometimes. Others have caught on and they know full well what they're doing. And then we have Albert Pike, good old Freemason also. While Pike didn't write much directly about music, in Morals and Dogmas, he actually praised the ancient mystery religions and their use of chant and symbolic music for spiritual transformation and hidden indoctrination. He said, symbols and sounds conceal and reveal the divine mysteries. This is the duality of occult frequency use. It hides from the uninitiated while initiating the willing. Do you hear that? Through music, they're using it to actually indoctrinate and initiate you to being one of them. And much of the occult world, as you've heard, is doing this as well with you unknowingly. So, when we start looking at high frequency, we'll begin to understand that in the occult, the higher the frequency, the thinner the veil between the realms. This is a foundational New Age and esoteric teaching. They say the world, the physical world that is a dense, low frequency. The astral spiritual realm equals a higher frequency. So to contact spirits or ascend, you must raise your vibration. That's why high-pitched singing like Mariah Carey's and crystal bowls and Tibetan bowls or bells and vocal overtones are all used in modern occult healing and spirit channeling. Mariah's high notes therefore act as vibrational piercing points that thin the boundary between the listener's soul and the spiritual realm. When combined with emotional openness from the lyrics, it becomes a form of sonic sorcery. This is very dangerous because when a listener is listening, they're usually very open. Their heart is wide open emotionally. It's raw, heartbroken, has desire within it, or loss, or some other thing going on. That means they're open to influence. It repeats, and that mantra is repeating in their head, and it bids them to sing along because their throat chakra is actually responding. Exposed to high-frequency pitches, crescendos, and breathy tones, their spiritual defenses are down and the veil thins, and the demonic influence can subtly embed lies, lust, and deception into their souls without them knowing it. This is why the enemy uses music more than any other tool. Now, when we look at this, before we get to this particular clip, we're needing to talk about what God's frequency is. And that might sound funny to some people, but He spoke creation into existence. He knows about vibrations and frequency. He owns it. It's His. He created it, but it's been hijacked by Satan. But some good examples include David's harp playing that drove away demons from Saul. Paul and Silas's singing in the prisons, which broke open the prison doors and their chains. Worship music in Scripture never seduces, it actually delivers people. In Isaiah 12, verse 5, it says, "Sing unto the Lord, for He has done excellent things." Satan can only imitate this power, but he uses it to ensnare, not set free. But I knew it would come up, and so I've addressed it, and we're going to watch a little clip about how this is something used by the occult on purpose to bring what they say healing is made up of. A sound bath, healing bath of sound over someone. Oh, there we are.
The melodies of the singing bowls and the vibrations of the gong echo through the halls of the Ohm Center on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, where I tried a sound bath.
Okay. I made it short for a reason. Basically what happens in these sound baths is they continue to make the bowl vibrate, just like the way you were seeing it, or the gong, continually in different rhythms, so that it starts opening up and relaxing you to open up the chakras and so on. And so it just really, it works. It does what it's supposed to do, but it actually embeds that message, like they said. So what's promoted today as healing frequencies, like we were just talking about, sound therapy or chakra attunement, looks scientific, but it's based almost entirely on Luciferian, Hindu, and theosophical ideologies. So the healing frequencies that we were just talking about originate actually from the solfeggio frequencies. They're claimed to be sacred frequencies discovered by Dr. Joseph Puglio in the 1970s. He claimed divine revelation told him that ancient Gregorian chants had encoded spiritual DNA healing tones within them. Each tone is supposed to awaken or unlock parts of the body or the spirit. Examples, just so you would know: 396 hertz is supposed to be used to liberate guilt and fear. 528 hertz is supposed to give your DNA repair and be the love frequency. 963 hertz is supposed to awaken the crown chakra. You get the idea, but the problem is this system is totally numerologically based, such as in the Kabbalah, Hindu chakra alignment, and Hermetic number magic, such as we've seen. It's not from Scripture at all. The other thing that we've come to find out that they've hijacked further in this way is binaural beats. Now, one would know that when you put in headphones, there are different parts of that song playing on one side of your headphones and the other in different frequencies to make that surround sound kind of happen for you. This is what binaural beats are. So they're used primarily to induce altered states of consciousness. They're used in remote viewing, astral travel, and Eastern meditation. It replaces prayer and stillness, usually, in the New Age and occult worlds, with induced trances. These originated in Bon Buddhism, Tibetan occultism, and Hindu Tantra. Their goal is not healing in the biblical sense, it's actually to align chakras, awaken the Kundalini, and merge with the divine energy, which is actually Lucifer in disguise. What actually happens in these practices may be confusing, but you feel peace. And in that peace, when you give up to that music, your will, it kind of has its way with you. It opens the soul's gates, meaning the eyes, the ears, and the heart, to spirits, but without discernment. It weakens the will, much like hypnosis. And it stimulates the third eye, which is called the pineal gland, which in occultism is the portal for spirit possession. This is why, after long exposure, some people actually see visions during their session, hear voices, feel guides or entities around them, and develop New Age beliefs, even if they started out Christian. What we'll find further is that this is all based off of the fact that Satan tampered. He tampered with the instrument tuning. The standard tuning for music today is now 440 hertz, but historically it was 432. Now there's a good reason for this, which I will explain. 432, which it used to be, is mathematically aligned with the Fibonacci sequence, natural harmonics of water, earth, and the human body. And many believe it resonates with God's design. But in the 20th century, some Nazi propagandists and occult experiments found that tuning should be changed to 440 hertz, a slightly higher pitch that will then create tension, mental agitation, and spiritual dissonance for those who are listening. Some researchers, including occultists, all have admitted this was intentional. Changing the frequency can make you change the population's emotional state, said Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's minister of propaganda. He was behind this as well. Music at 440 hertz has now been shown to increase anxiety and aggression, diminish spiritual sensitivity, and agitate the nervous system constantly. This frequency is what dominates pop music today. And if you've noticed, you go into malls, stores, grocery stores, whatever, have you appointments at doctor's offices, they all have music going. And personally, I just wish it was a good classical music most of the time because I want to get away from a lot of this. And instead, they're playing this kind of pop music that creates that tension and problems within your body. We have to then continue on with explaining that there is a way that music was made by God and is okay to actually use. Again, we see examples of David's harp being played to drive the demons away, the walls of Jericho falling, and Paul and Silas being freed from prison and their chains because of it. Worship is important to God. And so we have to learn to use it the correct way. Frequency is a spiritual weapon. We have to realize this. Satan twists frequencies to confuse, seduce, and possess, but God uses frequency to heal and free and revive. The difference is all in the spirit behind the sound. Music tones and frequencies should draw you to the voice of your shepherd, to Jesus, and most of it does not. Most of it leads to sensual surrender and darkness in your life. And that's what it's doing. Now for a quick review of how to actually train your voice in a godly way. I am no vocal coach, but I do come from a musical family, and so I was wondering this. I don't claim to have any amazing voice either, but I just thought that some out there who do enjoy singing might like to know. That without the fluff, without spiritualism being brought into this and mysticism, it's just a method after that, a method that can be used to glorify God as well. This would include, number one, learning breath control, which is the foundation, they say, of knowing how to not have a weak or erratic voice tone. So use diaphragmatic breathing, sustain a hiss, which I do not know how to do. Practice short bursts versus long bursts of holds. Resonance, number two, resonance and tone placement. You want a rich, clear, natural tone, not thin or nasal. And number three, pitch accuracy and ear training. You don't want to rely on auto-tune or vibes in your voice. You want to be exact, on pitch. You can use a piano or app to match pitch, do interval trainings, and record yourself daily and listen back objectively. Vocal agility and control. This is how fast, clean, and precise you can move between notes. Now, I do know that this is something I have tried. I need to get better at, but it does work. So that's number four, vocal agility and control. Running triads, arpeggios, and riffs, and scales. Controlling your slides up and down the notes in a large range. Number five, range development without strain is a key. Expand your comfortable range, it says, not just your reach. Train with warm-ups of lip trills, siren glides. I'm not sure how you would change that, but gi or nay exercises. Work on your head voice and chest voice separately and then learn how to mix them in. That's usually why most of us don't have a filled out voice, apparently, that is more rich. It stays up in the head range or the chest range, and it sounds a bit too breathy or a bit too nasally and something or other. Number six, diction and articulation. Every word should cut through the air. No mumbling, no slurring, just a clean delivery of powerful presence. Number seven, performance, emotion, and dynamics. You can learn to whisper sing, belt it out, speak, sing, and have emotion that shows through it, like sincereness, anger, sadness, seductiveness, and sarcasm. However, you want to master vocal shifts in volume without changing pitch. Wow, that's a hard one. Daily vocal warm-ups and cool-downs can be done. But what we have to learn is that we're not trying to actually manipulate people's emotions, be breathy or seductive. We shouldn't over-sing it or yell. And we shouldn't copy other singers' quirks necessarily, especially if they are from powerful and popular artists in the world. Always warm up, don't train cold, it says, and don't record every day for perfection. Use playback for learning and not shame. So, this brings us to the end. I hope that helps a little bit. Like I said, those are some general tips that I received from an online search on how to sing the way God would want you to and practice to cultivate the voice in a godly manner. But otherwise, I hope you guys really enjoyed the presentation information, and thank you for your patience. All right. I hope you guys have a good night. If you want to support us, here are our links and different platforms for doing so. And we do also have merchandise, our shirts and other things on there. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. All right. Bye.